Okay. So I asked you to find the x-intercept. So to find the x-intercept of these two equations, you set y equals 0, and you're supposed to do what next?
Use the quadratic formula.
No, not yet. You're supposed to use what next? You're supposed to factor, right? So we're trying to factor these. So if I'm trying to factor these two, what do?
Multiply 1 times -8.
Good. A times C, 1 times -8. We get. Okay, now we need to find the factors of -8 to add to 3, right? There aren't any, right? Because the factors of -8 are -1 and 8, -8 and 1, -2 and 4, -4 and 2. Do any of them add to 8?
3, you mean?
Or add to 3, sorry. Did any of them add to 3?
No.
No! So is this factorable?
No.
No! Not factorable.
That's the end.
Is it?
No.
Okay. Let's try this one. Okay. -2x² minus 5. What's A?
2. Negative.
What's B?
0.
0. What's C?
-5.
-5. So we do A times C. We get 10. Now we need the factors of 10 to add to 0. Well, I'll tell you what. 10 is not a perfect square. So there are no factors of 10 that will ever add to 0. So what does that mean? Not factorable. So, how many times... Whoa, that's not how you spell math. How many times does number 1 cross the x-axis? 0? What about 2? None? Did anybody try their calculator out? Tony try it? Tony didn't try it? Because there's 2 possibilities. Okay? One reason it's not factorable is there's no intercepts. Okay, it doesn't work. It doesn't never cross the x-axis. That's one possibility. The other possibility is it crosses at no. Crosses at a no. At a decimal. Okay? Because these are whole number factors, right? Aren't these all whole number factors? So if we cross at a decimal, then that's their possibility. So here I'm at that decimal graphing thing that we did the other day. I'm going to type in these 2 expressions, which I thought were already there, but that's okay. We'll redo it. Oh, I remember. My Safari quit unexpectedly. Okay. So there's the first one, right? Right? X squared plus 3x minus 8. Right? Does it cross? Yeah, how many times? Twice. So, should there be solutions when I do this? There should be, right? But there's not. Take a look. Crosses at somewhere between -5 and -4. Crosses somewhere between 1 and 2. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? It's like what I said, isn't it? It crosses at a decimal. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Okay. Now the other one, they have 2x squared minus 5. Way down here. Let me put it on the screen. Okay. Where's that parabola? Way down here at the bottom, isn't it? Is this parabola ever going to cross the axis? No. I can zoom out if you want me to. Did it ever cross it? No, never does it? Keeps going down, right? So those are our two possibilities. The first one wasn't factorable because I have decimal intercepts, right? The second one wasn't factorable because it has no x-intercepts. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Are there any questions about that? So what do we do? How do I find x-intercepts when we can't factor? We quit. Okay. Pick it up, throw it away. We're done, right?
Yep.
Nope. We use a very cool mathematical equation called the quadratic formula. You gotta shout for this. You gotta celebrate, not groan. Make the quadratic formula. Yay! You know? Okay. The quadratic formula is so cool, they've even put it to song.
Oh, yeah. Here
Okay.
it comes.
So, does everyone know the tune of Pop Goes Weasel? Pop goes the weasel. I don't know any words. I know it starts with all around the mulberry bush. That's it. Okay. There's some other stuff, but that's the tune, right? We can do that with the quadratic equation. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac. I gotta slow down. All over 2a. Okay, that's the quadratic equation. Or, are everybody here Notre Dame fans? No. Okay, the best use of the Notre Dame fight song is this, the quadratic formula. Okay, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. All over 2a. Best use of Notre Dame fight song right there. Okay, so I wear my Michigan shirt today. Okay, so you can see it's the Pop Goes Weasel or the Notre Dame fight song, right? But this formula right here will help me find the x-intercept when it's a decimal. Okay. So if you look at your notes, it says the quadratic formula is used for all quadratic equations that are written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Well, when it's written in that form, what are we solving for? X-intercepts. So this equation finds x-intercepts. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I do this, am I in the correct form? Yeah, I'm in the right form, aren't I? Right? What's my A value? 1. What's B? 3. What's C? -8. Right? So now, the way we find intercepts is we just plug these in for their letter. Okay? So, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, does that make sense? Don't worry, I'm going on American Idol next year. I'm either going to sing that one or John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, either one. No. That's my ace in the hole, man. I can't share with you yet. My secret weapon. All right, 3 squared. What's that? 9. Now, 4, 1, -8. I multiply those all together, don't I? 4 times 1 is, times -8 is 32. You can do this all in one step in your calculator. Just do 4 times 1 times -8. And we get -32. We will.
Over 2.
Okay. All over 2 times 1 is 2. So, minus a negative makes a positive. What's 9 plus 32? 41. Right? So now, I have this plus or minus thing. Why do I have this plus or minus thing? How do I do a plus or minus? Why do you think we have the plus or minus? Why do we have the plus or minus? Because how many? Good. There are 2 intercepts, right? There are 2 solutions to this equation, right? So using the plus gives us one solution. Using the minus gives us the other. So that means to find my two solutions, we do -3 plus the square root of 41 over 2. And to find the other solution, we do -3 minus the square root of 41 over 2. Okay? Now, the best way to do this without making mistakes, because lots of students make mistakes with their calculator when they're doing these problems. The easiest way to do this without making mistakes, first one, get down to this step like I have right here. Have one number in your square root. Have your bottom figured out. Okay? So do all the intermediate steps so you have one number in your square root. It'll make it easier, trust me. Okay? Now, do just the top. -3 plus square root 41. Type that in your calculator. -3 plus square root 41. Square root is second x squared. Okay? So -3 plus square root 41. Type that in. Hit enter. You get a number, right? What's that number? 3.4 and some other stuff, right? Now hit the divide button and you'll see little ANS/. That means answer divided by whatever's on the bottom, 2. 1.7. So that means this is 1.7. The decimal like Mr. Branch said, huh? Man, must be a psychic or something. I'm just good at math. All right. So then how do I do the other side? -3 minus the square root of 41, right? So -3 minus square root of 41, hit enter. You'll get some number with a decimal. Then hit divide 2, enter. So you got to hit enter twice. What do you get?
-4.7.
Another decimal. So those are our two x-intercepts. So this parabola crosses at 1.7 and -4.7. Why are we doing all this? Because I'm showing you how to handle every problem. The ones you can factor and solve without a calculator, I showed you how to do that. But this is for the ones that you can't factor, you need to know how to solve. Because then you're relying on that calculator to do all the heavy lifting for you. Okay? You're relying on the calculator to do all the thinking. Do you want to be smarter than the calculator, or do you want the calculator to be smarter than you? Really? Okay. So it's a terrible existence then if the calculator is smarter than you. That means you're relying on the calculator to do all your thinking. Right? The calculator can't think. So if you're relying on something that can't think to do all your thinking, then that means we're going to have a hard time as we move up the ladder here in our education. Alright? You got to be able to think. Okay? So, 2. Same thing, right? We couldn't factor, couldn't we? Could we? To find the intercepts, we do 0 equals -2x squared minus 5. Is this in the correct form? ax squared plus bx plus c. Yeah? Is it the right form? If you're looking for space, guys, I actually intended for you to write your this work in the third blank. All right, but it's okay if you didn't. That's all right. You don't have to move it. Is this in the right form? David, you're fine. Just do the next one there. Okay. Is this in the right form? Yes. What's A? What's A? -2. What's B? 0. What's C? -5. Right? So now I can use the quadratic formula to solve. I can sing my song. X equals -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac.
Pop goes the weasel.
There you go. Oh, over 2a. So there we are, all plugged in the quadratic formula. Right, does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so let's figure this out. Simplify. -0, that's just 0. Plus or minus the square root. 0 squared is 0. 4 times -2. -8. -8 times -5. +40, right? all over negative 4. Now some of you probably say, Mr. Branch, why do you have it? You said positive 40, why do I have negative 40? Because I didn't include the minus sign. I did this, 4 times negative 2 times negative 5. Right, you got positive 40, right? So that's why it's minus positive. Okay, you guys see that? Right? I did this part in my calculator. I didn't include that minus sign up front. Okay? Any questions so far? Any questions? We good? So then this equals 0 plus or minus 0 minus 40 is negative 40. All over negative 4, right? So now we can break this up. 0 plus the square root of negative 40 over 0. And 0 minus the square root of negative 40 over 0. Oh, not 0. Over negative 4. Right? So when I do that top one, 0 plus the square root of negative 40, what do I get? 0 plus the square root of negative 40, what do I get?
Oh, the square root of 30.
0 plus the square root of negative 40, what do I get?
Do it.
We can't do it! It says error, right? Because you cannot square roots a negative. That's not allowed.
Not allowed.
So do I just switch it to positive and go with it?
Yeah.
No. This means, and this means,
It's
there's
not factorable.
there's no intercepts,
No
right?
intercepts.
There's no
Intercepts.
intercepts, no solutions.
No error. I mean, it is error.
No, there is an error.
No factor.
There's no solutions or no intercepts. It's not possible. It's not factorable. I feel like I need to say do not pass go, do not collect $100, whatever it is, all right? All right. There's no answer there. No solutions. No intercepts. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? So, have I showed you how to handle a problem you can't factor?
Yep.
Yes and no? Okay. Not comfortable with it yet, are you?
No.
Okay. Well, there's 2 examples on the bottom that we'll get a little more comfortable with. Okay, so we'll try those and we'll grade them before we go. Oh, yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
All right. Now, before I turn you loose on that, there are 3 things I want to write down. Okay? And they all stem from this equation. You don't need to write the equation down again if you don't want to. But the things I want you to write down stem from this equation. Now, what is the big difference between number 1 and number 2 that we did? One was infactorable, but one had solutions, right? And number 2 didn't have solutions, right? In number 1, this b squared minus 4ac, the stuff under the radical, right? Was it positive or negative? Positive. We had positive 41, right? Okay. In number 2, this stuff under the radical was negative. And we had, did we have any solutions? No. So if b squared minus 4ac is bigger than 0, right? That means whatever is under the radical is positive, right? If this whole thing under the radical is bigger than 0, how many solutions do we have?
None.
Nope.
I mean, 2.
2 solutions. Like number 1. Okay. If b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, that means it is negative under the radical. How many solutions did we have?
None.
None. When I say solutions, guys, it also means intercepts. Okay? So if it's positive, we have 2 intercepts. If it's negative, we have no intercepts. Can't spell intercepts. What's the condition we're leaving out? We have positive, we have negative. What's the one we're leaving out?
0.
0. So what do you think? If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, what happens?
It's one solution.
Good, one solution. Or one intercept. And those are all the possibilities using the quadratic formula. Right? Are there any questions?